Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year, and welcome to the fourth quarter ARRL Roanoke Division Town Hall for 2025. I'm Bill Marine, N2COP, Vice Director of the Roanoke Division. We have a chock-full show tonight, full of lots of information, a lot of great developments which have happened only within the last month, and we'll bring you all up to date. Plus, we have a very special guest tonight who's going to talk about 2026 as the year of the club. So let's not waste any time. We'll have a round robin of introductions, and then we'll get the show going. So let's meet our leadership of the ARRL Roanoke Division. First, we'll go to our division director, Dr. Jim Boner, N2ZZ. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening, Bill, and thanks again for hosting. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope holidays have been great for everyone.
Very good. And Jim, I understand you're going to have some key information on developments on 60 meters.
Correct.
Excellent. Now let's go around and meet the four section managers of the four sections which make up the Roanoke Division. From South Carolina, we have Matthew Crook, W1 MRC. Hello, Matthew.
Hello. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening to you too. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us. Let's go over to the Mountaineer State and say hello to Dan Ringer, K8WV. Dan, how are things today in the Mountaineer State? Dan, you there? We'll move on, and then let's go into Marv Hoffman from the Tar Heel State. Marv, good afternoon, or actually good evening. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and to all the participants. Greetings from the high country. It is 22 degrees, 30-mile-an-hour winds, and a chill factor of 7 degrees. So we're ready to get warm here with a hot discussion.
All right. And since we temporarily can't get Dan Ringer in from the Mountaineer State, we'll substitute Marv Hoffman from Appalachian State, the Mountaineers.
The real Mountaineers.
Oh, we won't get into that. All right. And last but not least for the moment, Jack Smith, Virginia Section Manager. Jack, good evening. We hope you're doing well. Happy New Year.
Well, I'm here, so. And hey, Marv, it's a sweltering 32 degrees here with a gentle 30-mile-an-hour breeze as well.
All right. Well, we have some other introductions tonight. We wouldn't be able to even have this without our esteemed producer, Brad Humphreys, AE4VJ. Brad, take a bow.
We got right. Dan's back if you want to go to him.
Yeah, and let's go to Dan, KWV. Dan, good evening to you. Happy New Year.
Good evening. Let's talk fast before I get dumped again.
Okay. We'll be back to you. Don't worry about it. And then we have two special guests this evening, too. Our new Roanoke Division web designer, Danny Davis, KD5W, who will give us some tips later on club websites. Good evening and welcome, Danny.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for having me on.
Great to have you on this evening. And then our very special guest tonight to tell us about the year of the club and the special year-long award, America 250 Worked All States. From the ARRL, the Radiosport manager, Bart Jahnke, W9JJ. Hello to you, Bart.
Good evening. Good evening to any fellow cheeseheads who are out there. You'll notice I've got my cheesehead hat on tonight. Oops, wait a minute. What does that one say? Oh, that one's the USS Wisconsin, which is actually under construction here in Connecticut at Groton at Electric Boat, where both my daughter and my son-in-law both work. In fact, they're off, I guess, because they have they take a week off between Christmas and New Year's. And he went to work yesterday and said, I couldn't work. And I said, why? And he said, because somebody had left our welding material out and it could become contaminated. And so rather than use something that was contaminated, they needed to postpone the welding that he was going to be doing on one of these great, big, huge submarines. Oh, hold on. We'll get this right yet.
You do have a lot of hats.
There you go. Now I got my second hat. That's my cheesehead hat. I'll have you know.
Figuratively, you wear a lot of hats at ARRL.
I do.
And Bart, if I recall, you not only grew up in Wisconsin, but you grew up on a dairy farm, I believe.
I did. My dad told me that if you're not a farmer, you don't know shit.
Well, we plan to milk you for a lot of information tonight.
All right. We'll
Of
do some
course.
we'll do some serious harvesting.
All right. So the big thing is, Bart, that we have another year-long event coming up, and it's modeled after the very successful year-long events previously, such as POTA, Parks on the Air, VOTA, Volunteers on the Air, and now this year is going to be the Club of on the Air. And you've got a very key component of it, the America 250 WAS Award. Can you tell us a little about that, please?
Sure, absolutely. And with the information I sent along to you earlier, and you're welcome to pass along to the group, of course, it's an extension of what was in January QST. And for the 2026 year, one of the many activities that will be taking place is encouraging people to get on the air to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and also, of course, to celebrate clubs. For this particular award, it is logbook based. Any two stations who work each other can earn this certificate carte blanche. Now, if you go out and you also make contact with 50 of the W1AW portable stations, one in each state, then you can also get an endorsement for working all states via W1AW portable. And we have a schedule for that. We'll talk briefly as your time permits about that as well. We also have an endorsement for making all 50 state contacts on CW phone and digital. In other words, a triple play, which you saw in that certificate example that had like little stars across the bottom. And then finally, our goal is to try to identify through on-the-air activity of clubs and the club affiliations page, the call sign that has been designated by clubs that they will be using during the year of the club, so that if you contact one of those club call signs in each of the 50 states, you could get an endorsement for working 50 states via affiliated clubs. This should be a big deal, particularly for Field Day, and we're excited to see how it plays out. The award can be earned, quite frankly, come January 1st. If somebody makes contact with all 50 states, the award itself is based on the premise of 50 contacts during 50 state contacts during 2026. And then it'll expand from there. Logbook will have a separate line like it does for some of the other specialty awards, and you can go from there. A couple of the questions that have come up have been highlighted in that attachment. One of the things I was mentioning to activators is that we rely on QTH detail. That is not only the state, but the county, the grid square, the zones, so that if a person is seeking other awards, and say you're doing this on 6 meters and above, and this award is based on all bands except for 60 meters, that if you make a contact, you could very well be giving somebody a brand new grid square, say on 6 meters or 2 meters for that matter. So you want to make sure the QTH details up to date. I failed to mention county, by the way, that the QTH detail in each QSO line of the logging application is up to date. And then TQSL, when we go to upload the actual logs from the state, we will use the feature, which is override the station locations with the QTH detail that's in each QSO line. And that was the last page of that sheet, Bill. So
Okay.
That's the feature. If you decide that you operate from multiple locations, maybe POTA, maybe VHF Rover, maybe SOTA, maybe Islands on the Air, where you've got potentially different counties, different grid squares, different states, what have you, as long as your logging program maintains QTH detail in each QSO line, you don't have to have a separate station location for each of those. And we don't have to either when we go to upload the logs. On our website, if you've not yet been there, we have an America 250 webpage. On that page, we have a link to the list of W1AW portable operations that are going to be coming up. I'll do sort of a positive and challenge call out to our state of West Virginia reps. Haven't heard yet to see who's going to act as a state coordinator for that. That's coming up on January 14th for 7 days. Other than that, we're generally good then till we get to Utah at the 28th of the month, and we're going to have to start shaking some bushes out that way. But when we did the 2023 VOTA, we began this sort of as a top-down, reaching out to the directors and giving them sort of an olive branch or some unique apparatus that they could reach out to the clubs or their contest stations and say, here's an opportunity to put W1AW on the air. Would you like to do it? This time around, our thought was, hey, this is the year of the club. Let's go ahead and start with the clubs, come up through the ACCs, working with the clubs, the section managers working with the clubs, and let's, before we just assign big contest stations, let's see how many of the clubs we can actually engage in wanting to get on the air for various band mode segments during the 7-day operations.
And a reminder to the folks on tonight, you mentioned the endorsement in there for contacting clubs with club call signs. The database says that there are 2,900 ARRL affiliated clubs throughout the U.S.
Yes, absolutely. And so we'll have some fun harvesting of logbook to figure this all out. The idea will be that we will look as data comes in. This will probably be something we run during the night, not run live, and look to see for call signs that are in the affiliated database, what states are associated with, and then look at people who have made contacts with states during 2026 to associate their QSL activity with contact with club stations.
And a reminder to all, for those stations that are going to be running from each state, W1AW portable, each state will operate twice during the year, 2 1-week periods. And the first out of the chute for the Roanoke division, as you mentioned, is West Virginia on January 14th, and also South Carolina that same week.
Yeah. Our goal is to not have 2 portable numbered stations on the air during the same week. So there will only be 1/8 on for a given week. There will only be 1/3 on for a given week. We'll never have 2 of the same call area on at the same time, because we run into the challenge that some people will make contact thinking they've contacted, let's say they made 5 or 6 contacts on various bands, various modes. And then when they get all done, they realize they only made contact with one of 2 states that actually were using the same call area designator, and they never did contact the other state. So they have to wait another 6 months hoping that they'll catch it the second time around.
So it's good to get out there and keep looking at spotting information to see who's on. And then a critical thing, it didn't dawn on me until I read the Q&A FAQs on this part, that you can operate a W1AW state call letters can be on the same band on different modes. And so, for example, you could have 1 phone station or sideband station, 1 CW, and 1 digital on the same band, and then have the same situation on multiple bands. So you have, in theory, almost an infinite combination of simultaneous operation.
Absolutely. This technically is just like field day. How many stations can you get on the air? How many different modes? It's not even necessarily something that would stop at, say, 10 meters. When there's a 6-meter band opening, there's people on CW, there's people on phone, there's people on digital. There's 2 meters. People are doing FT8 at 144, 174, 222, 174, 432, 174. When conditions are right, or quite frankly, on a weekend where there's a little more activity, or depending on the scheduled activity of a particular state, if it happened to fall also when the the ARRL January, June, September contests fell, or, perhaps are 222 and up, 10 gigs, nothing's out of the possibility of the realm of possibility. And finally, you've got the July CQ VHF contest, separate weekends as well.
Yeah, right. And if for those who are watching tonight, if they want more information, a very easy way to find out is to take your smart device and put it on the QR code in the upper left corner.
Awesome.
All right. And then we're also, I realize it's not in your wheelhouse, but the Year of the Club will have not only America 250 WAS, but there are other aspects of it, such as the newsletter contest and the website contest. In fact, our own Danny Davis will be coming up a little later to talk about the website contest. But those clubs that have outstanding newsletters that can be used as models for other clubs to emulate, they're encouraged to submit those. All you need to do is just go to the ARRL website, and in the search engine in the upper right corner on the main page, put in Year of the Club, and you'll see all the listings of activities, and two of which are websites and newsletters. And we're looking for great examples. So if your club has an outstanding newsletter, both the newsletter contest and the website contest have deadlines of January 30th. So between now and January 30th, if you've got something you really want to showcase, you get it on in, because we need to have good examples that we can use. Bart, is there anything else we're missing that we should know about Year of the Club and America 250?
Think about this year in conjunction with every year that you have a field day and you're promoting amateur radio. And that is, as we continue to evolve in our technology, being able to be even more social than we already are. This is a great year to be social. That is, to have your club's Facebook, your club's particular newsletter information, wherever it's being shared on your website, updating your website. How many websites, maybe you've gone to as individuals and said, this is good information, but the people I need to contact are like 3 years out of date or whatever. Talk to your clubs. This is a time for your affiliated club coordinators to step up. If they've ever thought, what is my role in our field program? This is a clear example of where they can shine. They can, not only are they interfacing with individual clubs, they may be interfacing with some community involvement as well. Talking up resources for clubs talking up why should we become ARRL members? What's in it for us? We also are looking to collect more photos and more stories. Our goal is each month to have a theme, and Becky W1BXY is at the helm of that, and she began the year with a photo collage, and again, looking for more and more photos of hams doing fun things or hams doing emergency communications. You get an idea as you start looking at some of the photos from field day. You get a lot of people where photos taken from the back, they're facing the radio. You can't tell who they are, what they're doing. We're really looking more for that frontal action figures, if you will, photos, people putting up antennas, people having fun, maybe a few recordings. And if you do have youth, remember to get the photo release so that we can include their information when we go forward with some publicity, particularly of youth. And you had mentioned, having my beginnings. I came to ARRL when I was 25 and began at age 19. And I'm not, I'm over 30 now. So, I've been there a while, and I'd like to see some young people joining amateur radio and carrying the torch, after, those last after what is it, 26 miles, when that last 26th mile gets a little long for us.
Yes, good point all around, Bart. And remind everybody, the January QST, whether you get it digitally or you get it in print, is a great overview of the year of the club. Bart, it's been an absolute pleasure having you join us this evening. So a happy new year to you and all those around you, and of course to your staff. And I guess I would be okay to say go Packers.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, good. Hey, thank you for joining us very, very much, and wish you all the best in the coming year, and of course with both America 250 and with the year of the club. All right, let's take a moment and do a little round robin with the 4 section managers and hear what's going on in the states that make up the Roanoke division. We'll go to the Palmetto State and hear what South Carolina section manager Matthew Crook, W1 MRC, has going on. Matthew, happy New Year to you. Tell us, I think you're out of the gate soon with even a ham fest in South Carolina.
Yes, very true. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here this evening, joining us tonight, and even those maybe watching a little bit later. I am definitely excited for amateur radio in 2026. Bart, thank you for sharing and helping to coordinate the year of the club and the America 250. Looking forward to both of those events. I will say for the W1AW Portable, the Stroke 4, if you are interested, we pretty much got a team together for the first session in January, maybe a few slots available, but for the second session later in the year, be great to rotate some more people in. So Scott's the main contact for that, Kilo Golf 9 Victor. You can look him up, email him, or shoot me an email. Like I said, we'd love to get as many operators in that as we can. And sorry, just make sure I don't miss any of my notes here. Let's see. And then also mention since we're moving into the new year, update your clubs on the ARRL website, the annual report, make sure that's updated coming into the new year. And, it's not too late to apply to become an affiliated club. As we go into the new year, we want as many clubs to participate as possible. And, if you need any help with that, definitely reach out. Be glad to help with that process of updating the annual report or becoming affiliated. I also want to take a moment. I know in South Carolina and of course across the U.S. and the world, we've come across several silent keys, but we had 2 big ones in South Carolina come up since our last town hall. Just wanted to mention our public information coordinator Gordon Mooneyham, Whiskey 4 Echo Golf Mike, known as Gordo. Passed in October the 12th. Is also part of the ARRL Public Relations Committee since 2019. And also from Gary Leonard, Kilo 2, Kilo Yankee Juliet, a big part of Mercy Communications and a big part of SC Heart over the years, passed on Thanksgiving. They've actually set up a memorial page for him at scheart.us with photos and where you can send an email and they'll put some information up there. I just want to put both of those out. And as we also move into the new year, unfortunately, Gordon leaves a big hole in our cabinet. If there is anyone interested in, public information officer, public information coordinator roles, please reach out to me, as well as, looking for people for youth outreach, clubs, helping with clubs and clubs coordination, Aries. So, if you're watching, you've had an interest thinking about jumping in to help out amateur radio a little more, definitely reach out. Be glad to put you to work. Be glad to have the assistance. And Bill, you mentioned the Ham Fest. Yes, very soon, January the 10th, the GARS Fest in Greenwood. The Greenwood Amateur Radio Society Ham Fest is coming up at Piedmont Tech. Like I say, January the 10th. We had the winter storm they had to cancel last year, so we're looking forward to this year. The Wireman will be there, from what I've heard, and like I say, all indoors. So even if it's cold out, we'll be okay. So definitely looking forward to that. I will be out there. And so come on out and see me.
Wonderful. Thank you for that overview, Matthew. Happy New Year to you, his family, and the whole South Carolina section.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And the only other thing, I think I misheard you earlier, Bill. I'm pretty sure you said go Pats when you was talking to Bart. So yes, go Pats.
Okay. Appreciate that too. All right, let's zoom on over to the Mountaineer State. We've got him on, Dan Ringer, KAWV. And remember, getting a lump of coal in your stocking is an honor in West Virginia. Oh. Dan, we got a couple of audio. We've got audio problems. We're having trouble hearing you.
You're muted.
Are you muted?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you're muted. There you go.
I hope that's better.
It is.
You want us to ship out clean, beautiful coal to everybody in the country? Is that what I understood? No, that's probably not what you were saying. At any rate, we're looking forward to participating in the 250 WAS activity, but I'm getting concerned about the number of people we may have participating in that. If you are in West Virginia, please set aside some time the week of January 14th to get on and work some stations, because there are a lot of people out there who are seriously interested in getting a Worked All States award of pretty much any kind. And we don't have a lot of hams in West Virginia who like to participate in things like this based on our experience with Volunteers on the Air last year. So if you've got a club that wants to set up a club activity and get out, as was referenced earlier for field day, you don't have to get out. You just have to sit down in front of your station and operate. It's a good time. I was amazed during the Volunteers on the Air activity when I went on as W1AW/8. The band exploded. There were people waiting for us to be there. And I even got phone calls from people wanting to know, where is West Virginia? So we're here. We should be participating. It's a really worthwhile activity. And I think you'll have some fun. And it's an easy activity because you learn how to handle a pile up. It's a low stress environment. You don't have every frequency on every band congested so that you can't get in and work and hear and whatever. You can use modest equipment. You probably even use QRP and have a good time with it. I've been thinking about doing that and found an inexpensive little TR switch that I can put up to use for a 5-watt transmitter and another receiver that I have. So it's a good time, or it can be. Myself, I'm a little worried. I got a call from my next door neighbor telling me she was having an arborist come in to top the trees that I've got my antenna in. And it's my long dipole's up about 45 feet. They're going to take about the top 20 feet off that tree. So I don't know what my signal's going to sound like when we get done with all this, but we'll see. Unfortunately, West Virginia will be on the air January 14th, and then I think the third week in December, neither of which are really copacetic with doing antenna work because they're both in the winter. But I'll do the best I can to get my station on the air, and I would encourage you all to do that too. If you have any questions, if you're in West Virginia and you want to talk about this, send me an email or make a phone call. It's in QST every month. KWV@ARRL.org is the email. You send me an email and ask me to call you. I can do that. I'd be happy to do that to help you work out scheduling or getting your group together to do a group effort. You could easily get 2 or 3 members of your club in the same place at the same time, or spread out around the community and operate this and really make an impression out to the rest of the country. So with that, Bill, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. And I hope things go well with your neighbor on your antenna so you can definitely branch out and get to the root of the problem.
Thank you very much, I guess.
All right. Happy New Year. And yes, we are looking forward to hearing West Virginia and hope you'll get a good response. Let's go over to the Tar Heel State and wish a Happy New Year to Section Manager Marv Hoffman. And we know it's cool where you are, but tell us things that are going on that are hot in North Carolina.
Well, let me just say that I spent most of yesterday driving back from State College, where Pennsylvania, where I visited with my grandkids. And one of the things that wasn't hot was the weather, but I also noted that I counted 5 convoys of tree trimming trucks heading north on 81 going up to New England, where tonight, tomorrow, and maybe even into Wednesday, they're going to really get hit with some ice and snow. So uh, warm weather is just a dream here, and I've been fantasizing about going to Orlando and getting thawed out. Okay, so we have in North Carolina been giving the Sugar Award, which, if you're not in North Carolina, you may not have heard of the Sugar Award, but that is a recognition given by the section manager for individuals and clubs for supporting, upgrading, growing amateur radio. And the next presentation of a Sugar Award will be on the 17th of January. I'll be going down to, I believe it's Hillsborough, where Okra, the Orange County Amateur Radio amateurs, will be having their meeting, and there's a kind of discussion among several clubs as to which clubs in North Carolina are among the oldest. I've been in touch with the what's called now the Forsyth Amateur Radio Club, and has been so named for about 35 years, but they began as the Winston-Salem Amateur Radio Club back in 1929. And so we're trying to use the Sugar Award as a way of recognizing clubs for their immense longevity. Speaking of silent keys, as uh, Matt did, Dot McCracken, AD4D, whom I met when I went to Waynesville to the West Cars Hamfest. Dot McCracken, I believe, was the oldest living ham radio operator in North Carolina, and she passed away 5 weeks ago at age 101. And I was hoping that she would make it to 102 in June for her next birthday, and I had a plan to make sure that she was appropriately recognized as the oldest living ham. Now we'll be in touch with clubs across the state doing 2 things: asking when the club was formed so that we can recognize about who may be the oldest living ham in North Carolina. I know that uh, we had one down in Gastonia who passed away about 4 years ago, who had made it to 102. But I wish everyone good luck, but I bet that if I make it to 102, I won't be on section manager meetings. Okay, so that's the report from the high country. We're gearing up for the Rars Fest, and we're gearing up for having the W1AW operating at the Rars Fest and on the Shelby Hamfest site. And more will be given out information wise about that in the North Carolina section newsletter. This is WA4NC, Marv out.
Okay, Marv, thank you for that report. Happy New Year to you. And hopefully you get a heat wave. They'll get it up to 25 degrees sometime soon, and you can thaw out. All right. And last but not least, from the Old Dominion State, Jack Smith, KE4LWT. Jack, what is going on in the Great Commonwealth?
Well, it's been pretty busy this past year, especially with the clubs and the Amateur Radio Emergency Service. Mike led the way on as the affiliated club coordinator, keeping the clubs active and engaged. And the ARRL operators completed over 10,000 hours of logged training with about 500 hours of real-world emergency communications assistance during the February flooding event. That was in response to a request from our VOAD partner. The VOADs are the volunteer organizations active in disasters. And that was the Red Cross that made that request. A special thanks to FM KI4LH for coordinating that response and also for deploying down there. And just so people know, there's nothing wrong with your audio. I had surgery back in April, and my vocal cords were damaged from the airway, and I've not recovered from that yet. So anyway, January 24th and 25th, of course, is Winter Field Day. February 7th is the Middle Peninsula Amateur Radio Club Hamfest over in Gloucester. Then our ARRL America 250 window begins on March 11th, which overlaps with the Winter Fest, which is our Virginia State Convention on March 15th, which is being put on by Vienna Wireless Society. And that also overlaps with the Virginia QSO Party, which is March 16th and 17th. So that'll be a tremendous opportunity to get 2 first, 3 first, 4 first, whatever you want to call them first, during that time frame. So you can get your counties and independent cities covered. You can get all the goodies you need for the 250. And well, while I still can, I'm going to say thank you. And real quick, there's as you may already know, I'm not running for re-election because I just can't do the work with all the different health problems I have going on. And the 2 people that are running are both excellent people. I'm not going to mention their names because I'm not allowed to, and I'm not allowed to endorse either one, but I'm going to endorse both of them if that makes any sense. Like I said, they are both excellent people, and you can't go wrong with either one. You should be getting their ballots in the mail along with their bios and all that soon. So, and I'm going to, same thing as I was saying back in October, voting is your license to bitch. If you don't vote, don't complain. Handing it over.
All right, Jack, thank you for, and a reminder, we have 2 sets of elections in the Virginia section and also in North Carolina, the first quarter. If you're an ARRL member, keep an eye out for your ballot, review the candidates, and make a choice. And as Jack said, you can't complain unless you vote. Now, thank you very much, Jack, by the way, the best to you, and thank you for all the service that you've rendered in Virginia. Now, before we get to Danny Davis and what he has offered for improving club websites, let's hear from our division director, Jim Boner, N2ZZ, as from a divisional overview, and particularly a victory that we got, Jim, on 60 meters. You want to go ahead?
Sure. Bill, I'm really excited about this. Everyone should be excited about this. Whenever amateur radio gets spectrum, that is a huge win. And this has been going on for a quarter of a century. I went through the history of all of this, and I will mention going back to our newsletter that you should already have in your email box. If not, it's on the Roanoke Division website that discusses the 60 meter. And probably the biggest thing is don't jump into it yet because it's not legal until 30 days after it's published in the Federal Register, which has not happened yet. The league will keep you apprised of that. But when I say quarter century, 60 meters or the 5 megahertz band is a very difficult band because it's administered by not only the Federal Communications Commission, but also the NTIA, the National Telecommunications and Information Agency. They handle the federal licensees while the FCC handles the non-federal. So 5 megahertz or 60 meters has been kind of a hot topic. We have been working for this for greater than 25 years. And just looking back at some of the information here, someone that may be a little younger here, you've heard the term WARC bands on 30 meters, 17 and 12 meters. Well, WARC stood for the World Administrative Radio Telecommunications Conference. And those bands were voted for worldwide use for amateur radio at WARC 79. So that is kind of similar to what we have here, except they abbreviated the name to World Radio Telecommunications Conference, and this happened in 2015. In May 2003, we were granted 5 channels in the 60-meter band. We were limited to 50 watts at the time. In March 2012, they changed one of the channels, which always seemed to have digital information on it, and then said, we've been good neighbors, so we want to go back. We will let you go up to 100 watts PEP. So there was a lot of compromising being done with the FCC and NTIA. What happened with the world's WRC 15 is we were given daily reports by our Chief Technology Officer, Brendan Price, N4QX, about what was going on. He was representing the league and also the IARU. They had a number of representatives as well. But it seemed like he came back almost every day with bad news. And I was getting a little depressed about that. But what they finally came up with was a 15 kilohertz contiguous segment that was going to be recommended for hams worldwide. And that's the 5351.5 to 5366.5. But one of the interesting things is there were a number of countries, and obviously a majority voted for it. But for my information, the U.S. was not one of them. And we ended up getting that as a contiguous segment, but then there's this kind of ridiculously low power level of 9.15 watts ERP. I was told that was very important to the Russian delegation, but I'm not certain if there was anyone else that was having that problem as well. But as I mentioned, we have a very unusual situation here where there are a lot of users, federal in that band. So basically, I have to thank the division. It was reported to us as directors and vice directors that the FCC was soliciting comments, but it didn't seem like they were taking it as aggressively as I thought we really should do, because our number one thing is spectrum. And Bill and I got together and we put out a mailing that happened October 19th of 2023, asking people to write the FCC and agree with the ARRL plan of having that contiguous segment at 100 watts and also maintaining the 4 frequencies that were outside that allocation. There was already a precedent. Our neighbors to the north, Canada, had already approved this. So they are okay for 100 watts PEP for the entire segment and retain those 4 frequencies that are outside the contiguous segment. So the FCC got a lot. I think at the time that we first started, there were about 600 comments, and within a couple of days after our request to members to go ahead and really write the FCC, there were thousands of letters to the FCC pretty much saying the same thing. Okay, we don't want to say that we need to be like Canada, but we do want to say that we should get this allocation at 100 watts and keep the other frequencies. So the FCC just came out with a report and order and decided to go along with the worldwide allocation at the low power level of 9.15 watts ERP. Our 4 segments outside are still at 100 watts PEP, and the one in the middle of that allocation is going to be dropped down to that power limit. So where do we need to go from here? Well, first we have to wait until this is published in the Federal Register and when it becomes legal to use those frequencies. But I really want to caution everybody, we were granted extra power, although it took 10 years to happen, because we were good neighbors. We wanted to make sure that everybody knew we were on a secondary status and that we should not interfere with federal users in that band. And we accomplished that. And I hope that this is going to continue. The docket is still open in regards to being able to raise power limits up to 100 watts PEP, and I really want to see that happen. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I just urge everyone, when you get on 60 meters, be good neighbors. I realize there's a lot of people here probably don't really appreciate the 60 meters because, of course, it's not used for contesting. It's not indicated on LOTW or anything like that, but it is a spectrum, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to use it. In case anybody wonders why we were showing justification for the 60 meter segment, it's because of potential telecommunications emergencies between the Caribbean and the United States. So here we are. We've got a new slice of spectrum that is not quite ready to be used, but I urge you to use it and to use it legally and be good neighbors. Make sure you listen before you transmit. So this is very exciting. I mean, I've seen this through for the entire quarter of and very happy about it. At that point, I'd be able to take questions, whatever. But Bill, I'm going to turn this back to you because I definitely want to make sure that Danny gets a chance to talk.
Absolutely, Jim. Thank you for that great overview on 60 meters, which also Jack Smith has sent a little chat and reminded us as a FEMA employee that he's been, that 60 meters is the only 24/7 interoperable band. That's because it's unique status at 5 megahertz. It really is great. Before we bring in Danny, and Danny, we'll give you a little time, I just want to give everybody a very quick positive update on the Amateur Radio Emergency Preparedness Act. That is the piece of federal legislation designed to bring some relief to those people who have private antenna constraints. It had a hearing on Tuesday, December 16th before the U.S. House Communications Technology Subcommittee of the full Energy and Commerce Committee. It was heard and reported out. We are hoping sometime in February or March that it may have a full hearing before the full Energy and Commerce Committee. So a very big first hurdle was passed, and that's a very, very positive area. All right. Our web designer, Danny Davis, KD5W, has some suggestions for clubs. Danny, welcome aboard. It's great to have you. And this being the year of the club, I think you may have some tips you'd like to pass along.
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me on. And I'll try to keep this short and sweet so we can get out of here. As you know, the ARRL is holding a competition for club websites. They're looking for websites that stand out to serve their members as well as the community. And I think in the division, we have a few websites that do that. And I know I speak for Dr. Jim and Bill when I say we would like to see some of the Roanoke clubs submit their websites for the competition. We could post up a link to the competition for you. And what you need to do is the website needs to be submitted by January 30th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Submissions later than that won't be accepted. Once you submit the website, you cannot make structural changes. You can go ahead and change, images and text as you normally do to keep your members updated, but you can't change the look and feel of the website. Winners are supposed to be notified in May of 26. And then they're going to present awards, I believe, at the Huntsville Ham Fest in August, as well as announce the winners in an issue of QST magazine this year. So we definitely make sure to get your website submitted. We'd love to see our division's website submitted for that. A couple quick tips that could help you on that. Since what they're looking for is they want to make sure that the website is serving the members of the club as well as the community. So what you need to do is on your homepage, you need to have some links that are very visual. So buttons, I love buttons. Put a button on there that says getting started, or getting licensed is even better. And have that go to a page that has information. So if your club happens to do VE testing, or even better, training to be licensed, have that information on there and current, so it's easy for them to click on and find. Also, another good thing is if you provide community services. So I know a lot of clubs do provide communications for bike races and Christmas parades and things like that. Have a button on there for community outreach that goes to a page that details what services you do provide to the community, and easy contact information for people to be able to reach you there. And finally, one of the things I wanted to, let me click this real quick. Finally, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was I wanted to offer that a lot of our club websites out there are kind of looking a little dated, and I think they need to be modernized. So I wanted to take this challenge on myself, being a web designer, and offer my services to help clubs update their websites. And I'm doing this in one of two ways. So I put a link up for brokensignal.tv/web. If you go there, you can see that you could either select to do it yourself. So if you have somebody who's good with HTML, I've already laid out 6 templates you could choose from. You could download it. It has the zip folder with all the files you need. You can go in and make the changes for your club and publish it to your web server. If you happen to not have somebody with HTML, I'm going to offer my services, and I could take your existing site and convert it over to one of these templates. You could request a conversion on the site. That'll just pop up an email that you can send me with your URL to your website and which template you would like. Now, I do have to say, I am very busy, so this comes as a first come, first serve, and I'll try to do as many as I can. So I may not be able to get to them all, but I would like to try to help everybody out there get a better looking site this year. And that's all I have.
That's a lot, Danny. Thank you so much. And that's a very generous offer on your part. By the way, a big tip of the hat to you. You've done a magnificent job in overhauling the Roanoke Division website, for which we're all grateful. It's got a nice clean look to it, and we're very proud of that, as well as your generous offer on club websites. Well, we are approaching the top of the hour. Well, I think we've covered just about everything. Brad, do we have any people who have some questions in the chat box?
Not really. A lot of people looks like they're just watching. A fair amount of people watching, and Matt's been posting some stuff in there. So
all right. Well,
I'm going through those. They didn't really pertain when everybody else was talking, so I thought I'd hold them at the end. We'll just kind of run, pop them up as everybody's saying bye, that type of thing.
yeah.
But if anybody's got any, go ahead and get them in the chat now. And we got a couple of minutes. We can hit them.
Actually, yep, we do. We've got about 2 or 3 minutes before we hit our outro.
Yeah.
And while you're looking, of course, we look forward to everybody having hopefully a happy new year, and lots and lots of people from the Roanoke Division and Year of the Club in America 250. Any comments from the peanut gallery? Boy, it's a quiet crowd tonight. People must have really celebrated over the.
I'll mention one thing, Bill.
Yes.
I wanted to again thank you very much for hosting these. These have turned out very well. Your previous news and even your political experience really shows up well in your emceeing of these.
Well, thank you. You're very kind, Jim. And it's I think these quarterly town halls are a great way to get out. And I think one of the things that makes us different is not only the professional production we get through Brad, AE4 VJ for, yes, Brad, look at the camera, that you do, but also that we hold them to 1 hour. I mean, we really try and just give salient information in a short time rather than just stay on and on and on. So, well, we'll be back in the first quarter of 2026 with another town hall, and it will be probably sometime in March. Until then, I'd say it's basically a wrap. And thank you for all the comments that are rolling in. I see that you're posting there, Brad.
Yeah, let's see. Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I think we have law. Damn. Do you know if there are going to be any remote stations in West Virginia for The event? Probably
Not that I know of. Not
Yeah,
that
it's
I know of.
More of a personal.
There are some West Virginia operators using remote stations in other places, New Jersey, Virginia, like that. But I don't think anybody's operating from outside West Virginia remotely from here. And I don't know of anybody who's setting up a remote station intra-West Virginia.
All right. Well, there's an opportunity for somebody then.
It is. All right.
All right. Let's kick this.
Brad, we up against the clock?
Let's see. Close enough. We don't have anything. We'll give people back 2 minutes of their life, right?
All right, then. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Wait. Hang on. Oh, we didn't do it right. We have to do that first.
Would you look at the time?
Would you look at the time?